Welcome to another episode of Ryder's Motorcycle Video Review. I'm here in beautiful Moab, Utah to ride the 2009 F800GS from BMW. We've got some great riding ahead. We've got a lot of off-road, water crossings, pavement, high elevation in the Aspens, so we're going to go from maybe 90 degrees to whatever it is in the mountains, 40 degrees. So it's going to be a great day, and we're bringing you right along with us. It's going to be great. Hi, I'm here with Anthony Arbolino. He's product manager for BMW Motorcycles. We're here in beautiful Moab area. We're here for the US press launch of the F800GS 2009 model. Can you tell us where you started with the idea for coming up with this bike after the so successful R1200GS? Where did the concept come for this bike, and what exactly was that?
Well, when we took a look at the enduro segment, we found that we had a lot of high performance offerings, but maybe a little higher in the price, such as the R12GS. Probably the #1 world selling bike that we have. Then we took a look at the lower end and we had the F650GS, the single cylinder. Maybe not quite the power that everyone was looking for, not quite the off-road capability. So what we had was a big hole right in the middle of the segment. So we decided to go with a middleweight bike with the F800GS, and we decided to gear it a little more towards the off-road ability. Can you tell us what type of rider this bike was developed for? Because it's less power, less weight, more off-road ability than the 1200GS. So who's the customer or type of rider you were trying to address? Well, it would be someone a little bit younger. Usually the GS owners are a little older, have a little more money, and they're a little more comfortable with the higher weight of the bike, the higher performance. Not to say that this has any less performance, but it's a little more usable. Slightly less horsepower, but it's a lot less weight to handle, right, and it's got a lot more off-road ability. The GS, maybe you wouldn't want to take it over some sand or some rocky dunes, on a long adventure ride, but this, you would have no problem with it. 21-inch front wheel certainly shows its dirt capabilities. Right. This is the only GS, including the new 650GS. This is the only one with the 21-inch front wheel. Correct. Which is telling us we really want off-road performance, exactly, the best we can get. Standard 17-inch rear. Yep. Now they're spoked wheels. Are they tubeless? No, they're not tubeless, actually. Because it's a standard spoke wheel, we do need to use a tube. Okay, it's a standard aluminum rim. Yes. It's running a tube, so somebody can fix a tube on the trail. Exactly. Like the old days. They're aluminum rims. Have you tested them for durability? We have. Everything goes through a usual testing ability, and we wouldn't bring it to the market if it wasn't okay. Okay. Can you tell us about some of the features? Maybe we can start at the front. Let's start right at the wheel. It's a 21-inch front wheel with a spoke wheel. And then we move to the brakes, it's got 2 rotors, both floating, with two piston floating calipers. They're not 4-piston calipers, and they're connected by a 45mm upside down fork. Okay. Conventional fork. Telescopic. Something new for this. Is the suspension adjustable at all? The rear is not, the front is not. The rear is. It has adjustable preload, which you can see with this little knob right here. Right, love the knob. It also has rebound, which is actually on the bottom over here. Great. Are the brakes linked at all? The brakes are not linked. Non-linked. It does have ABS though. Okay, is that an option or is that standard? ABS is actually an option, and it's $900. Okay. Let's just go to the rear. We have a dual-sided swing arm as opposed to a single-sided swing arm. Exactly. We're running a chain, which is another thing that says to me, hey, we want off-road performance. Exactly. Can you tell us if there's any other reason, or was that particular? It was really for the off-road performance of the vehicle. And also, if you notice, we have a wet multi-plate clutch. Yes. Again, for the off-road ability. Because when you're going through some slow terrain, maybe you want to slip it a little bit, it manages the heat much better, and it just lasts a little bit longer as well. Okay, I'm noticing a really large cleated rear brake lever. Very large, actually. Exactly. Can you tell us about this? These are rubber pads above a cleated foot peg? Exactly. So one of the things we want to do is always about rider comfort. So when you're riding on the road, doing a little adventure touring, the rubber actually helps the damp vibration, and it makes it a much more comfortable ride. But when you go off-road, you want a little more grip. So consequently, these are actually replaceable to give you a little bit better grip on the boot, and with the large rear brake lever, you have complete control the whole time. Okay. Tell us about the rear brake. The rear brake is a 265mm rear rotor and has a single piston sliding caliper. Okay. And that actually has ABS as well too. All right. Is the ABS switchable off? I'm imagining it is. It actually is, and actually new is you don't have to shut the engine off now. If you just
please tell us how you do that, because people always ask me.
You don't have to shut the engine off. What you actually only have to do is just come to a complete stop and hold the button down, and then it'll shut off. No more pulling over off the road and shutting it off.
That's nice.
So you can do it at a stoplight.
Okay, that's fabulous actually. This bike has a center stand. Is that an option? Or
that is an option.
Okay, but you can get a center stand as an option.
Exactly.
Kind of a grab rail here, slash rack. It has some knobs on the bottom for bungees. Is that standard?
This is standard.
Okay.
The bags are not.
Correct. And I noticed you have bags. I haven't seen them before. Are they new bags, or are they from something else?
They're actually very similar to the R12GS bags. They're just black.
Okay. So I noticed they're much smaller than what you normally see on, say, the 1200GS.
Exactly. It's a much smaller bike.
So,
maybe you don't need quite the storage capacity. Just something interesting to note is you can also get the metal cases as well, just like the Adventure.
Okay, and off on, if you're going off-road, smaller bags, less weight is just going to be more rideable, more usable in that regard. I know it holds 4.2 gallons of gas.
Exactly. Underneath the seat.
Recommended for premium.
Exactly.
Where does that tank lie?
The actual tank is underneath the rear seat, and what it does is it brings the center of gravity a little bit lower, so it makes the bike a lot easier to handle.
Okay. 6-speed transmission.
6-speed transmission.
Wet clutch we mentioned.
Why don't we talk about the engine a little bit?
Oh, please do.
The heart and soul of the bike.
Yes.
It's a 798cc parallel twin. It produces 85 horsepower and 62 pound-feet of torque. And it's actually been engineered just for enduro riding. So on the street, maybe the top end is always nice to wind it out, but when you're riding in the dirt, you want something perhaps a little more manageable, easier, better low-end torque, easier to get on the gas. So it's actually been revised just for its single purpose.
I believe from the F800 you made some changes, like in the cylinder.
We did actually make some changes. The bank of the cylinders is now 8.3 degrees as opposed to 23.3. And this was necessitated because when you're going off-road, obviously you need a lot more suspension travel. You're also going from a 17-inch wheel to a 21-inch wheel. So in order to get all the clearance and have the dynamics of the bike work correctly, we move the cylinders up so we can allow for all the travel that you would need. And what that actually we have a new lower engine casing, clutch cover, and a water housing. So it's not just a slap together engine. We actually re-engineered the whole thing.
All right, nowadays people are looking to bikes for fuel economy more than ever before. Do you have any idea of the fuel economy this bike is getting, and could you tell us the suggested retail price?
We'll start the suggested retail price. The base price is $10,520, excluding freight of $495. What you'll mostly likely find in the dealerships is something we call a standard package, and that includes ABS, heated grips, onboard computer, and the clear turn signal lenses. And that will actually be about $12,000, $12,025 to be exact.
Okay.
As far as your next question, the fuel economy, which is everyone's mind, no one wants to pay $4 a gallon. According to the FTP, which is the federal testing procedure, and this is actually used for carbon dioxide emissions, the estimated fuel economy for this would be 54 miles to the gallon. Now that would be roughly equivalent to a city rating. I wouldn't say it's exactly, but just to give you an idea of what everyone else is using, it's about 54 miles to the gallon.
Okay, so you're going to get 200 miles to a tank.
About that, yeah, absolutely, maybe. With a 4.2 gallon tank.
Depending on how you ride and if you're off-road on the gas all the time, that could change, of course. Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much. I can't wait to ride the bike tomorrow.
You're welcome. You'll enjoy it.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.